Prophet Yusuf was the end of the day was the king of Egypt. And if you many of king of Egypt was Pharaoh, and the characteristic of Pharaoh have libel, kibri, have a kibri.
There's kibr, there's arrogance.
For best of Pharaoh in mystery. How for Prophet Yusuf?
As for the first question, well, there isn't something clear about the profession of Yusuf alayhi salam in the days where he were with Yaqub alayhi salam, or whether he owed his profession when he was in the castle of the Pharaoh. Even the profession of Rasulullah sallallahu is not business. The profession of Rasulullah sallallahu he didn't have one profession. You know, even his main job wasn't to make profit, and he intended to help his uncle Abu Talib. So he went with him in his trip to Syria or to the Bilad al-Sham. And maybe they say one of the certain narrations says that he took care of his cattle. So he didn't have a certain profession. He was always trying to help his uncle. He didn't seek any profit, or his intention was not to be, for example, a leader to show his personality, something like that. Unlike business people, usually. As for Yusuf alayhi salam, well, maybe at that time, at Palestine, they were well known for taking care of the cattle, of the sheep, or ewes, or something like that, because they said that the wolf maybe ate Yusuf alayhi salam. Or they accused Yusuf the wolf of eating Yusuf. So maybe the wolf usually likes the sheep and likes the ewes. So, and they are available when there's a lot of ewes and sheep. So most probably they were taking care of cattle at that time. And Yusuf maybe went with them and took care of the cattle also. So maybe this was his profession before entering the castle of the Pharaoh. Now when he entered the castle of the Pharaoh, his job maybe changed. Maybe he was a leader over certain storehouses. Maybe he helped others in different ways, but this is not mentioned in the Quran. You have to look for narrations, and you have to be sure that they are authentic. And this is another research. Yeah. Welcome. As for the other pharaohs, well, Yusuf alayhi salam, it has shown, and we have explained the verses, the last verses of the Surat Yusuf, and we have seen that Yusuf alayhi salam elevated his moral, his good moral, because you can know if a king is more humble when he has the opportunity of torturing more. The more power, tempts a person to show steadiness, to show power, to show authority over others. It's a human instinct, to show that you are more powerful than others. What better situation for Yusuf alayhi salam to show his power than when his brothers were at their weakest level, at their most miserable status. So we can understand from that is that Yusuf alayhi salam elevated in humility, in tawadu', when he reached this power. So he was not unlike any other pharaoh, actually.
Assalamu alaikum. Yes, I want to ask you about what you said from the previous lecture, that the lesson that we get in that situation for those women who cut their hands, that we should not spread the stories of others that reveal their faults. Okay, so sometimes we tell the stories, forgetting, the lessons, the time lessons. So it is acceptable to tell the story of our friends or others that reveal their fault for the gaining lessons, the good lesson maybe. So is it acceptable?
Thank you. Now, what I meant yesterday when I was talking about this incident, or maybe the day before yesterday, is that we should not gloat about the failure of other. What I mean gloat, it's in Arabic tashmut. It's like you should not compliment the misfortune of others. It's like, oh, this guy failed. Look how he failed. How could he fail? It was very easy not to fail. It was a very easy test, for example. You know? So we should not talk about others' stories or incidents in a way that we are gloating them, in a way that we are underestimating them, because we could fall into this falsehood anytime. This is what I meant. Now, if I was talking about the story of a friend, and my intention is not to underestimate him, not to gloat about his falsehood, not to show his not to like show that I'm a better human being than him, something like that, but to let others learn from that. And maybe it's preferable not to say his name, you know, I'm one of friends. Then it's okay, you know, even if you're telling his name, but not in the intention that you are gloating him or underestimating him, but in the way that you're asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala not to reach his falsehood, not to let him reach this falsehood, so you don't believe you are a better person than him.
My question is, there are different prophets mentioned in Quran, as we know, so I have the question that there are other people maybe can prefer a particular prophet than other. So is it good or bad because you found a person, when he or she hear about a particular prophet like maybe Musa, he's already to spend his time to hear what is happened or to know more about him, but when he get another story about another prophet, he just ignore. So is it good to prevail the preference of a particular prophet than other? That's my question.
Well, saying that this prophet is better than other prophet, according to what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, this has no problem. Like, for example, we know that from the narrations of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi, narrations from the sayings of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi, that Anbiya ulul azm are the best prophets, the prophets of ulul azm. Now, ulul azm, you know what ulul azm means in Arabic? Ulul azm means, it's like ulul albab. You know what's ulul albab? Oh, this is the definition of something more stranger. Ulul albab means the men that have the best way of thinking, the men of analyzation, the men of reason, the men of logic. Okay? So ulul azm, the men of determination, the men of resilience, the men of persistence. So according to the narrations of Rasulullah, Anbiya ulul azm are 5. Rasulullah, Nuh, Musa, Isa, and Ibrahim. Those are the best prophets. We can say that they are better than others because Rasulullah says. But if we like argue like some of maybe the companions of, or the men of the book, in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, لا نفرق بين أحد من رسله. And if we argue in a way that we are like fighting that, no, this, especially in the prophets that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala didn't say or appoint as the best prophets, if we're saying about other prophets, other than Musa and Isa and Rasulullah, saying that, no, how can you say that this prophet is better and this prophet is better? How can you dare to say that? Don't say that he's better again, or out. So if you cause a conflict because of that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't want that. Because the people of book were being proud of saying that this prophet is better because they want to show that they know about them more than others. So la nufariqu, we learn from everyone. Now, a human being usually loves a person more than other person when he knows more about him. So for example, now I think that I've gave you something very, very, very deep about, I'm repeating it, very, very, very deep about Yusuf. Why? Because when I've looked to when I've researched about the interpretations of the verses of Yusuf, I've researched a lot. And I've contemplated on my own, and I've thought, and I've prepared. So I can give you these pearls, this gold areas. Now, I think you have a way more deeper thought about Yusuf. So I think that it is very normal now to get very attached to Yusuf. Actually, when I've finished preparing the story of Yusuf, I couldn't stop crying. I wished that I would meet him one day. No? He had all the beauty. He had all the patience. He had all the good moral, the good ethics, the dignity. What a person you will look up to. Now, you can't hold looking at a leader who's talking maybe 3 seconds. You can't hold the remote control. You want to turn off immediately because you're bored of just talk and hypocrisy and double standards and all those falsehoods that they may be committed by them. But if you look to a leader where he manifests the attributes of Yusuf, you will get more attached to him because you now know the values, the high values of those attributes.